Tributes are pouring in for Queen Elizabeth II, the UK's longest-serving monarch, who has died at age 96. After reigning for 70 years, she died peacefully on Thursday afternoon at her Scottish estate, where she had spent much of the summer. Here to reflect on her legacy is Chief Executive of Emerging Business Intelligence and Innovations Group, based in the UK, Adwoa Ejechum. Good afternoon to you. Wish we would have spoken on something else and not the subject, but it's really quite unfortunate. But let's reflect on the legacy of the Queen and how you think this will impact on trade and finance in the UK and the Commonwealth.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. So, yes, the nation of the United Kingdom is still in shock, and the whole country is mourning. And it will take some time until things get back to normality. As we can see, we had a new Prime Minister this week, and of course the death of the Queen also happened this week. And so a lot has happened in the country, and as I said earlier, it will take some time before things get back to normal, and also for the British government to establish new protocols and strategies. There are also a certain number of countries that remain part of the Commonwealth, and more have signaled their intentions to leave the Commonwealth in the past few years. And so from a trade perspective, the Commonwealth, I would say, it still has a more significant post-Brexit. So it has more significant post-Brexit. And the Queen really was the person that was holding the Commonwealth together. From an African perspective, the previous trade with UK was more centered around raw materials, where the value chain was exploited by the UK. Now, the majority of the profits gained was from transferring raw materials into finished goods. Under the new AfCFTA, Africa wants to ensure that it's not just exporting raw materials, but also it's getting investment into the continent to produce the finished goods. And in so doing, capture more of the value chain, ensuring that wealth redistribution is coming back into the African continent. So what I would say is that there are multiple forces at the moment that is operating, is either, in terms of what's going to happen, we just have to wait and see. But Africans would now be looking towards their leaders to negotiate the next steps in a manner that is more beneficial to the Africans. So that's what I would say in terms of the impact, but I would say that we are all just waiting. It's still very early days, and in terms of where the Commonwealth is going to go, we just have to wait and see. But Africans are really going to rely on their leaders to negotiate much better going forward.
Yeah, you mentioned the fact that Africans have to look up to their leaders to negotiate better deals for them. Will King Charles III be able to hold things together?
I'll say that the Commonwealth nations, they had a bit more affection for the Queen. So she was really the person that held it together. And as I said earlier, most of the Commonwealth nations have signaled their intentions to leave the Commonwealth. So we don't really know whether the new king is going to be able to hold it together or not, but we just have to wait and see. And as you can see as well, we've got a new Prime Minister. So there's a lot of changes happening, and I think a lot is going to shift over the next couple of weeks.
The last question, what was generally the mood over there? I know here in Ghana, when we lose somebody really important, business comes to a virtual standstill. There's not much happening. Just give us a feel of the mood there right now.
In terms of the private businesses, I think things are still running as normal, but the people within those organizations, of course, everybody is still very sad. People are mourning. You can feel in the atmosphere the fact that everybody is mourning. Some of the very big supermarkets and big stores like the Selfridges, they've closed today just as a sign of respect. And we are getting emails from different organizations all across the country, across Europe, also expressing their sadness and also joining and expressing their sympathy towards what has happened. So there is a general mood of mourning in the environment, but schools went back as normal, and people have gone back to work, but you could still feel the atmosphere. And I believe that from next week on is when a lot will happen in terms of how do we then progress as a country, and how do we then mourn, and in terms of the burial preparation as well.
Adjo, I know you're very busy today. Thank you so much for sparing some few minutes with us. Appreciate it. We'll talk sometime soon.
Thank you. Thank you.